Hey friends, it's Deb from Bowl Me Over. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a great casserole. It is a garlic Parmesan casserole, and if you hear all these little ticky noises, that's my dogs. They know it's like talking on the phone, so they get out and play when mama's doing video. Anyway, garlic Parmesan casserole. Let me walk you through what we're going to need for this recipe. It is probably the easiest and one that I'm really excited about sharing on the blog. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Let me tell you what we need first. A couple jars of Alfredo sauce. These are 15-ounce jars, so you'll need 2 of those. If you can get one great big one, fantastic. We need chicken, mozzarella cheese. I like to grate fresh because it's just so much better. Some Parmesan cheese. We're going to use rotini pasta. We need Parmesan garlic sauce. I like the Buffalo's Wings brand. It's a little spicy. It's super creamy, really good. Little salt and pepper, not a whole lot, and especially not a whole lot of salt because our Parmesan is salty. Okay, so I'm going to start by dumping the pasta in my boiling water back there. Let me get that going. Let me lock up my dogs, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the dogs are locked up. Oh, thank goodness. That was more difficult than what you thought it might think. Anyway, we're going to drop the pasta. And I decided to go ahead and film this because I want to give you a quick tip. And that is, and I'm hoping my microphone reaches well. I know it worked really well last time, but before we drop the pasta in the water, we want to make sure we salt the water well. And what does well mean? I put, not that much. Just a small, it's probably about a tablespoon of salt in the water before I drop the pasta once it comes to a boil. So I'm going to do that now. Let's get that in. And I'm going to give it a quick stir as well. And this is rotini pasta. Because it's going to bake in the oven, we're just going to cook it to al dente, which is about 7 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 7 minutes. We'll see in a couple. Okay, so we have our pasta boiling. Again, it's going to be about 6-7 minutes. I have my timer right here, about 6 minutes left. And for this casserole, we need 2 cups of grated mozzarella cheese. And we can buy it, like we almost had to because this was like the last fresh ball of mozzarella cheese in the grocery store yesterday. But you could buy it in the packets, the pre-shredded packets. But they have, and I know I always say this on the blog, but they have a preservative that makes it so it doesn't melt quite as well. And because this casserole is all about the melty cheese and the sauce and stuff, you really want to make sure you have good cheese. So I think I'm just going to grate this whole fresh cheese ball right here. And it's all I can do, only because the camera's on me now. I would love to grab some of this fresh cheese. It's so good when it's so creamy like this. So again, we need about 2 cups. And honestly, I think that's pretty much 2 cups right there. Let me check my pasta and clean up my workspace, and I'll be back in just a sec. Okay, our pasta's cooked. I cooked it to al dente. I lightly drained it. I also grabbed a cup of pasta water. We may or may not want to use that. But it's always a good ingredient to have on hand before you pour it all out. I have my casserole dish, and I want to make sure I spray it with nonstick cooking spray. You could also butter it, but this is just easier. Okay. And I was going to show you this. This is a mud pie casserole dish. They have the prettiest casserole dishes, so if you wonder, in fact, I'll put a link for it in the comments below or in the description below. It's just a beautiful product. They heat really evenly. Anyway, it's my favorite, so I just thought I'd share. Now we're going to make the sauce. And the sauce is the Alfredo sauce. And we just dump that in there. And while we're here, I'm going to show you another tip. And that is, I always think there's so much goodness left in the little jar that doesn't get poured out. And if you pour just a touch of pasta water in there or chicken stock or whatever, you can get a lot more of it out of the container because it just seems like such a waste. And you don't need a whole lot. And that's one of those tips you can't put on the blog because how do you explain that? Anyway, see, we got all that goodness out of there. Perfect. We're going to add our garlic Parmesan sauce. And a lot of people use it for chicken wings. I'm like, oh gosh, no, this is wonderful for cooking. It makes a wonderful sauce. And it's like a really shortcut in flavor. It's really, really good. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So all told, we've probably used about 1/3 of a cup of pasta water there. Give it another good shake. And pours a ton more. All right. Okay. Enough of the tips already, right? I'm going to get my whisk and just kind of bring that sauce together. Give it a good stir. Okay. I'm going to put this in the sink. Okay, so next comes our chicken. I do a lot of cook my own chicken breasts because I use a lot of chicken in recipes and such. And so I cook them, I freeze them, and put them in the refrigerator. Give that a little stir. And now I'm going to add the pasta. The pasta, again, it's cooked to al dente. It's hot. And that means even though this looks like a whole lot of sauce, it is, because that pasta is hot, it's going to suck up all that sauce as it bakes. And I think the best part about making a casserole is you want to make it good and saucy, because if it's not good and saucy, it's going to taste dry, and nobody wants a dry casserole. Now, see, just look. I bet you thought I had way too much sauce, huh? Ah, it's perfect. The first time I made this, we're going to add half the Parmesan. First time I made this, I kind of felt like Goldilocks, you know, it was too dry. The next time it was too saucy because I changed the amount of pasta in it. Now it's just right. And I'm going to add half of my mozzarella cheese. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And give that a little sprinkle in there. And half a teaspoon of salt. A shy half teaspoon, I should say. And I'm going to give it another good stir. In the meantime, I've had my oven on. I've preheated it to 350 degrees. And I'm going to bake it for 20-25 minutes till it's hot and bubbly. Now, if you wanted to make this ahead of time, like before work, you would stop here or put it in your casserole dish, stop there. And then when you went to bake it, you would need to bake it for probably about 15 minutes more, because the pasta would be cold, the casserole dish would be cold. So in that instance, take the casserole dish out of the refrigerator, let it sit on the counter for about 30 minutes. So while you're preheating the oven, and then put it in. You'll be much better off that way. Okay. Does that not look fabulous? I just think that looks so yummy. My friend that that photographs for me, one of my colleagues that photographs for me, she said her teenage son said this was his favorite casserole he's ever tasted in his life. His new favorite meal, I think it was. So coming from a teenager, that's pretty high praise. Okay. Looks pretty fabulous, huh? Okay. We're going to take the rest of our Parmesan, just give it a little shake over the top. Perfect. The rest of our mozzarella cheese, our freshly grated cheese. And do the same thing. Oh, goodness, that is just so soft and oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. I'm going to put the lid on that, put the foil on this. And I always use heavy-duty aluminum foil. Seals it in really well, seals in the heat. If you do not have heavy-duty aluminum foil, then use 2 sheets of foil. Okay. I'm going to put this in the oven and clean up my workspace. We're going to set our timer for 25 minutes, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, my timer just went off. It's time to pull the casserole out of the oven, so let's give it a look. Sounds nice and bubbly. Do you listen to your food? Probably not, huh? Okay, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that is just about right. And you see how our pasta is not quite melted all the way? That's okay. We're going to put it back under the broiler. So let me turn the broiler on really quick. Turn this off, turn the broiler on. Start. I'm going to move my rack up to the second one. I don't want it right under the broiler because then that's too close and it'll burn, but I want it under the second one. So I'm going to tuck this under the broiler and you're going to see it turn like to magic. We're going to go from, you know, like this nice white top to this nice golden brown top, probably a minute, maybe 2 minutes. I'm going to stand and watch it the whole time. So we'll just hang with me. I'll be just a minute. So I had it in the oven for 2 minutes under the broiler, and it wasn't quite golden enough. So I put it in for 1 minute more. I'm probably going to give it 30 seconds. And you just got to watch it close. Don't leave the kitchen. Anything under the broiler can just go poof really quick. So 1 minute more. Alrighty then. That's what we're looking for. In fact, let me come around. I'm going to get that camera and give you a close-up. I'll be right. So check this out, guys. Is that not cheesy deliciousness? That's what we're looking for. See how the top of that got nice and golden and brown? Yum. All right. Okay, so our casserole is done. It baked in the oven for about 25 minutes. It's hot, it's bubbly. We tucked it underneath the broiler for like 2.5 minutes. We got that nice golden brown crust on the top. And remember how we use that heavy duty aluminum foil to seal in the moisture? This is why, because this is what you get when you do that. See how nice and all that saucy goodness we can see on there? That's what we're looking for. Oh, and all that cheesiness. Okay, but it's all in the taste test, right? So let's give it a try. And it's nice and cheesy. And it's super hot. Oh my. That brand of Buffalo Wild Wings, that spicy garlic Parmesan sauce. Oh my goodness, this is so good. So it's got a little bit of heat, lots of sauce, super cheesy. Maybe I better try one more. Guys, this makes for a fabulous, fabulous weeknight meal. Leftovers freeze well. So if you do have this and you have some left over, I've as I've recipe tested and stuff, I've frozen this for like 2 months. Does just fine. Make and enjoy. I promise you, if you have kids in the house, they're going to love this one. I do appreciate you following me. Now, don't forget, if you didn't write everything down, all the ingredients, they're right below in the notes. You can find more tips and ideas and things on the blog, what to serve with it, all that good stuff. bowlmeover.com. It's bowl-me-over.com. And we'll see you next time, okay? Thanks for being here.